Hello again, got another UK legal to carry knife. This is the Lansky Madrock. Now before I begin, I'd like to just quickly compare it to the Lansky World Legal because they are pretty similar. Obviously they're both made by Lansky sharpeners and they're both Williams in tactical design. Quick note, on the packet of the World Legal it says it's legal to carry in 289 countries if I recall correctly. That's pretty impressive, especially for such an intimidating, large intimidating knife, even though it's a slip joint. So let's start there. Like the World Legal, the Madrock is a slip joint with a blade length that is less than 3 inches. We'll get to that later on. So this thing is legal to carry in the street without a good reason. Whether or not you should is a different story, but we'll get to that later on. So let's just talk about some specifications of the knife, and then I'll give you my thoughts and all the rest. So the handle is about 10 centimeters long. The overall length is about 17 centimeters, and the blade length is about 7.5 centimeters, and the cutting edge is around 5.5 centimeters. Now, in regards to the law, I'm not really sure if the law applies to just the cutting edge or if it's the overall blade length. I think it is the cutting edge, but even then, if the policeman decides to be a prick that day, if he's stopping you, he might decide to measure from tang to tip instead of the cutting edge, and you might be in a bit of bother. Anyway, let's go on to the knife. So, let's have a look at the blade. Now, to start off with, you can hear that it's got a good strong back spring. It's got quite a snap in both the open and closed and the half stop, which this knife does have a half stop, which is good for safety reasons. On that note, a locked knife would obviously be a lot better, but since I live in the UK, politicians here are pretty stupid and they don't seem to understand that the lock is actually for your safety. It baffles me that we can't carry a lock knife because the lock's obviously there for safety. And in this world nowadays, they're always ranting and raving about health and safety. Well, why does my health and safety not matter when it comes to a knife? Why can I not have a safer knife? It just seems silly to me. Anyway, the blade, which is a hawkbill. By the way, this knife actually functions quite similarly to a karambit. I'll get into that later on. Now on this section here where it's actually ground, which it's hollow ground, is a sort of stone wash, same with a sort of swedge or false edge. The top portion of the knife here is, well, it's basically just satin. You could basically see all the grind lines right there. If you're interested, there's the blade steel. Personally, as I said before, I don't really care much for if it would focus. I was going to say there, I don't really care much for blade steel. Looks like it's not going to focus. There we are. You can see there, Lansky sharpeners, and it was designed by Williams in tactical. Now this is I really don't like the word tactical, but I don't really know how else to describe this. And well, it's supposed to be a tactical knife. Now, I'm going to give you my thoughts on. No wait, let me finish the overall before I forget. So, there's Torx screws holding it together, which is good or bad depending on your preference. I prefer a pinned construction, but you can take this knife apart if you wish to. I don't really know why you would want to. We do have a lanyard hole. Now, the handle itself is plastic. I don't think it's anything fancy like G10 or F-Ran. I think it's just a very generic sort of cheap plastic. Does the job. It's not really a hard use knife in my opinion, although it does look like it. I don't really trust this knife to do anything hard use. This orange section here is kind of soft and rubbery. Obviously it is slightly textured. We do have some jimping on the back and the front of the knife as well as on the blade. We do have a pocket clip, which I think is pretty laughable in comparison to the rest of the knife. I mean, what were they thinking? It's tip up only and it is reversible. I think the last thing they were talking about is the price, which I bought this off Henny Haynes about 2 or 3 years ago. I don't remember what I paid for it at the time, but before I started making this video I had a look on Henny and right now it's $22.99. So the World Legal was actually cheaper. I think the World Legal cost about 17 quid. So, and personally, I think the World Legal is actually a better knife. Let's just do another quick comparison here. They feel pretty similar in the hand, by the way. Maybe the Madrock feels a little better. I think the World Eagle's actually a bit stronger. Anyway, okay, so the grip of the knife. Now it is fairly thin for the overall size of the knife. It is pretty thin. I'm not really going to talk about how it carries because I don't really like to carry a knife like this. Again, I'll get to that later on. It is very comfortable in the hand though. I mean, it just... People often talk about how it just melts into your hand, and I guess with this knife I see what they're talking about. I mean, this is quite a serious, quite a serious slip joint. Now it's very comfortable in this sort of reverse. Sorry, I can't really get a really good angle just because of my setup, but this is very comfortable. Now, be careful what you do with this knife. I mean, this is quite an aggressive looking knife and tactical. Honestly, to me, this feels like it's geared towards... I really hate to say this for a UK legal knife, and this might not do me any favours, but this looks to me like it's geared towards self-defence, especially with that really aggressive blade shape and the way it handles. I mean, that is incredibly comfortable, and you barely even notice it in your hand. I mean, put it this way, if you were to throw a proper punch, just with this knife in your hand, if you were to throw a punch with this, my god, you're going to do some damage. I mean, obviously you could easily do damage with any knife anyway, but it feels like that's how this was designed. Again, I really do hate to say that. Now, onto my thoughts of the knife. What's it practical for? Sorry, can't help you there. Like I said, I've had this knife for about 3 years, same with the World Legal, and I look at it sometimes and I think, what would you do with a knife like this? I mean, you're not really going to buy a knife like this with the intention of cutting your fruit, opening your post, opening clamshell packages, opening boxes. It's not really geared towards that, and it's certainly not a woodworking knife, although you can obviously use this knife for all those things I just mentioned. Obviously this would be very good at opening boxes, but excuse me, but it's quite a big... yeah, I don't know, you're going to get some funny looks if you use a knife like this to open boxes. Now, can I suggest that you really don't use this in public view, because people are going to see this? Like, if you're out walking in the park and you decide to stop and eat a piece of fruit or open a package on a park bench and there are people around, they are going to shit themselves when seeing a knife like this. I don't think they should be scared. It's just a knife. I think everyone should carry knives, I really do. A knife's a tool, but most people, the 80% of people I would say, are going to see a knife like this and they're going to crap themselves. Like I said, a knife's a knife, and I mean really, when you compare it to a Swiss Army knife, you could see there's not really that much of a difference in size, but obviously one of these is far, far, far more intimidating than the other. You can see the blade length is almost identical, so it is actually legal to carry, as I said. But a Swiss Army knife, I've said this plenty of times before and I'm going to continue to say it. Now, I'm not bashing this knife at all, by the way. I think it's a good knife, and I enjoy having it in my collection, and it is nice to know that I can have a knife like this and carry it if I want to. I'm just saying, think about what you're doing with it, that's all. Personally, I don't like carrying it for these reasons, but anyway, like I say, it's pretty comparable to a Swiss Army knife or the likes, but I think a Swiss Army knife is far, far more practical. You could do a lot more work with that blade shape. It's much more versatile. I just think it's an all-round better option, but I'm pretty biased towards Victorinox and Finger, so that's just my opinion on that. Now, I'd just like to add a little note about the knife law in regards to this knife. I don't think knives like this were intended to be legal to carry, as silly as that might sound. Now, most of you know what the law is here. You could legally carry a pocket knife so long as it's a folding, non-locking pocket knife with a blade length of less than 3 inches. That falls into this category, obviously, easily, no bother. It's literally the exact definition of a UK legal knife. But what I think is, that was not meant to include knives like this. These were the kind of knives that they had in mind. Traditional slip joints, I mean, something like this. Older design knives, I mean, this is non-threatening. Something like a small non-locking up and L, the Swiss Army knife, etc. These are the kind of knives that I think the law was meant for. I mean, I think these kind of knives were meant as an exemption. I don't really know when our current knife laws were written. I'm just going to take a random guess and say sometime in the 90s or maybe even the 80s. But obviously knife laws over the years have gotten stricter and stricter and stricter, and eventually things like this will not be legal to carry. Sooner or later they're going to catch on to this and they're going to say, okay, the blade height can only be X amount and the thickness can only be X amount. Isn't that already a thing in some states in America, by the way? Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. You let me know. What's the knife laws like in your country or area or whatever? Obviously in America it varies from state to state, and obviously in Europe it, you know, depends on country to country. What are your local knife laws? I'm actually kind of curious. I've done a little bit of research on some European knife laws. The most interesting one is actually the Czech Republic. Apparently in the Czech Republic you can carry whatever the hell you want without many reasons. That's pretty awesome, I think. So I suppose I should probably wrap it up there. I mean, I've been going on talking nonsense for the past 11 minutes, and I'm surprised you're still here if you are still here. So if you are still here, thank you for watching, and well, if you're still here, you must have enjoyed this to some extent, so why not give me a like? So thank you for watching, I'll see you later.